Good morning, metalheads of the internet, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Metal Meltdown. Today we are talking about the latest studio album from Orbit Culture entitled Death Above Life. This is the fifth full-length studio album from this Swedish melodic death metal crew. I first came to know of them back in 2023 with the release of their fourth full-length studio album, Descent. I thought it was fine. It was okay. It was whatever. I, however, was very clearly in the minority because there was a lot of hype and momentum around that album and that band at that time. There were a lot of people praising Orbit Culture and declaring them the next big thing in metal. I had people in the comment sections and in my DMs like, are you going to talk about Orbit Culture? Oh my god, I love Orbit Culture. Oh my god, they're the next big thing. Holy shit. And I just didn't see it at the time. And spoiler alert, I still don't really see it. I know, I'm sorry. I know, I deserve this. I had the audacity to disagree with you. I deserve this. I'm sorry, y'all, but I just do not see what makes this band so cool and so special and so unique. Like, from my perspective, all this is a combination of the most tried and true influences from some of the most big-name mainstream metal bands today, and also just a variety of metal tropes and cliches, all kind of brought together into songs that are too long for their own good, and with a production and sound mix and mixing and mastering that is far too overcompressed for its own good. Like, there are parts of this album that are genuinely unlistenable because it is just a blur of fucking metallic noise and screaming and drums. Like, the track Hydra, for instance, kind of goes the way of, like, radio-friendly Fortitude era Gojira, but without any of the progressive or technical edge of Gojira, or frankly, even of Fortitude for that matter. It really is just, like, harmonized, forceful, oppressive, shouting, yelling vocals over top a very basic, steady foundation of meat and potatoes kind of groovy metal. And it eventually leads up to this full-on, full-throttle explosion of extreme metal with like pummeling percussive blast beats and death metal guitars and guttural vocals. And it's so fucking big and loud and bombastic. I feel like I'm listening to somebody just like scream in my fucking ears while they pound and blast away. Everything after this point is a little better. Like, we have some atmospheric breaks and some more kind of swervy, nuanced guitars that wouldn't be out of place on a more classic Gojira record, to be honest. But I mean, by this point, I'm already kind of tapped out, you know? I'm done. I don't give a shit. Then you have songs like Inferna and Inside the Waves, which pull a lot of influence from Trivium to varying degrees, though. Like, with Inferna, you're really mostly just getting that kind of like Matt Heafy, clean vocal kind of performance and dynamic, whereas with Inside the Waves, this is full-blown Trivium-style heavy metal and metalcore. It honestly could have been on one of their last albums with the Deadman Say or in the Court of the Dragon. If it was from there and it just showed up here, I wouldn't have questioned it at all. Inferna gets some extra points for at least going in a more unique kind of direction. Like, it has this more epic, kind of grandiose, kind of melodic metalcore, death metal kind of sound and feel, with all these different peaks and valleys and atmospheric breaks, and there's a lot of contrast and tension. And I even kind of fuck with some of the like vaguely djenty kind of grooves and guitars that are kind of thrown in as well. But then it also kind of loses points for being 6 minutes and 43 seconds long, and eventually, you know, it just feels kind of aimless. I feel like we're repeating ourselves. I feel like we're not really actually going anywhere. And when we are kind of going somewhere, when we are building up to these bigger crescendos and these bigger, bolder moments, I mean, the compression just kind of takes over and swallows everything whole. So even though it's more derivative, I find myself enjoying Inside the Waves just a little bit more. So even though it's more derivative, I find myself enjoying Inside the Waves a little bit more, and that's very disappointing. Then there's Bloodhound, which goes in a more raw, abrasive, kind of Slipknot, nu metal kind of direction, with rampaging guitars and chewy, snappy, visceral grooves and these more hype kind of moments with gang vocals and harmonized percussive poundings in the chorus. Admittedly, it's one of the more fun, energized cuts on the record, so I'll give it a bit of a pass. Death Above Life and Neural Collapse, however, oh boy, not at all. Yikes. This is where I feel Orbit Culture is just kind of throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks, because you have that kind of like intense kind of hyper blast percussion and industrial metal of a band like Fear Factory. You have all these different electronics and textures and dynamics, and you also have more consuming, kind of punishing, kind of metalcore, deathcore thrown in. You also have like these Matt Heafy, almost James Hetfield-esque roaring cleans at points. They also both try to incorporate more epic, cinematic elements and dynamics at times as well, and they're both compressed to hell and back, and they're both just a fucking mess. A blizzard and a slurry of just kind of crap. Like I said, it's Orbit Culture throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. And Sweet Kentucky Fried, fuck, then there's The Path I Walk. God damn. It starts off fine enough. Very straightforward, bare bones, somewhat generic 4-chord kind of piano rock ballad. But as time goes on, it builds and builds more and more on top of itself, never varying necessarily in chords or structure, never really going anywhere, just kind of like throwing more crap onto the pile. More strings, more guitars, more drums, more roaring, passionate vocals, and it gets to a point where it just feels like an overdramatic, schmaltzy nightmare on par with like whatever the fuck Disturbed and Falling in Reverse did to Sound of Silence and Last Resort. I don't know who the fuck keeps telling mainstream, popular rock and metal bands that just piling a bunch of goddamn garbage on top of a simple piano or acoustic ballad makes for a great, epic, passionate, beautiful song. But I need that person to shut the fuck up immediately. Yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm feeling a 1.5 out of 5, honestly leaning towards a 1. Like, this is a bad record, dog. This is so bad. There are some riffs, some beats, some moments in some songs that could make this worthwhile, but the compression and the long run times, and just the fact that this is just like a big fucking hodgepodge of, you know, influences, tried and true from the biggest name metal bands, and a bunch of tropes and cliches. Like, there's just nothing here that I find especially compelling or interesting. If for whatever reason you wanted to hear some fucking freak emulsification of like Gojira, Metallica, Trivium, Static X, Fear Factory, and like, you know, some djenty guitars and metalcore guitars, if that sounds awesome to you, if you just want to hear a regurgitation of things that your favorite mainstream bands already did way better, congrats, good for you. This is for you. Have a great day. Contrary to popular belief, I don't expect every single band that I talk about, that I listen to be the most mind-blowing, revolutionary shit imaginable. I understand that a lot of people just kind of take the influences that they have and they put them onto an album and they call it a day. That's fine. I'm fine with that in theory. But this is just so derivative, and it's just so obviously not saying or doing anything very unique or interesting, and it feels like it is nothing more than those influences. Like, you could probably take 30 seconds from a Metallica song, a Trivium song, a Gojira song, a Slipknot song, a Fear Factory song, stitch them all together into one song, and you would have something that more or less sounds and feels identical to a good chunk of the material on this album. And simultaneous to that, it's got awful, overcompressed production, so bad that it is unlistenable at times, and some of the songs run on for too damn long. There may be some pieces of corn in that shit. It is nevertheless a piece of shit. Sorry, not a fan. I don't see the hype. And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I am not an expert, nor do I claim to be. So what do you think? Do you like this record? Do you not like this record? And what do you want to hear from me next? And thank you for watching. Make sure you press subscribe right here. Join us on Discord, other videos, blah, 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 blah. And as always, you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.